VHS 85 is the 6th film in the VHS saga.
Ooh.
This is an anthology found footage franchise, which I don't know if there's any other anthology film franchises that are set in found footage.
None that I know of.
I don't think so. So this might be the
Unique.
only one. There has been in anthologies that are found footage, but I don't think they've ever turned them into franchises.
Right.
So please correct me if I'm wrong on that. Okay, so this one is currently streaming on Shudder, and it dropped today. So we get Scott Derrickson, who most recently did The Black Phone, but he's been doing horror for a while. And the film that I actually am a huge fan of that no one ever talks about that he did is Hellraiser Inferno. And then we also have David Bruckner, which I'm a massive fan of because of his movie The Ritual, as well as The Night House. And I was kind of like in the middle on Hellraiser. I didn't love it. I didn't hate it. I was just kind of like, yeah, maybe a second watch. Yeah, one of these days. Okay, other people worked on this as well, but those are the ones I know best. Mike Nelson, who I always think, every time I see his name, I'm always checking to make sure it isn't the guy from Mystery Science Theater 3000. It is not, unfortunately. So much like the other ones, it has these very low quality resolution and this like wraparound that I don't know. Okay, I'm just gonna get to it. I was not into this one. I just, and that is such a shame for me because I do quite like this franchise a good amount, and this franchise has always been hit or miss with every segment. And there's definitely things, right? This could be one of those cherry picking films that I talk about here and there where I'm like, yeah, okay, there's some good gore here. There's some good concepts here. I liked a little bit of this scene. I liked a little bit of that scene. But just the overall experience, the like execution of the ideas, the way things are put together. I just was so uninterested in so many things after they had initially maybe gained some of my interest. Because the first segment that deals with like people at the lake, I was actually like fairly into that one because then like it kind of there's this twist that's revealed and I'm like, oh, that's cool. And I would definitely say that's probably because that plays throughout like the runtime for we go back to it a few times.
Yeah.
I'd say that's probably my favorite one overall.
Yeah. It's mine.
That's the one that I was like, okay, this one's good-ish. I don't love the execution of it. I especially don't like the ending because it just kind of takes away from everything set up and it doesn't really have much of a payoff to it. It's kind of just abruptly ends and it's like, that's not really comeuppance. That's really nothing. I don't know what's happening here.
Yeah, it is kind of an abrupt ending.
So, I'm curious on your thoughts for sure. I'm so blown away by how much I didn't like the majority of this. Like, I would say 85% of this movie I was like super unengaged with, super bored, super confused or unentertained and then there was things, right? There's like some really cool gore in that techno god and the one of the other ones. They had some good stuff in there. The one Scott Derrickson did had some decent gore in it too, and that was a good concept that I think could have actually serviced much better from being a feature-length film.
Yeah, I agree.
It's just like it's kind of a big idea that is really like crunched down into this nothing thing in the end for me. Like it's okay-ish, but it's like I just really didn't like the execution. And then you got the other wraparound, which I think is Bruckner's. the ending of that's actually really cool.
Yeah.
The rest of it's got a cool tone to it, but another one, it's like I would have actually liked to have seen a feature length of that. Right? It's like all the ideas are too big to be executed in a short film, or some of these anyways. And I just found that things were either rushed or didn't feel like they were properly fleshed out because they didn't have the runtime or whatever. I was always so underwhelmed with like everything in the end, going like, why am I not connecting with this? Why am I, you know what I mean? So, yeah, what did you think?
I liked it, honestly. I mean, I understand what your like criticisms are, because I do feel like a lot of the ideas are too big for the short
Yeah.
like time that they're supposed to be told in. And I think that's actually something that can happen in these VHS, like in these segments, where that's one of the things that can kind of detract from your enjoyment, is when it's like a cool concept, but there's not enough time to explore it properly. So you end up feeling like dissatisfied ultimately in the end.
Yeah.
I do think that they work best when they kind of have, a simple outline.
Yes.
But overall, I liked the film. I didn't find that it was radically worse than any of the other VHS films for me. There's definitely, like we've said, like there's segments that I enjoyed much more than others. Like I have a favorite, which is the same as yours, and then I have, ones that I was just like on. But overall, I thought it was fine. I think that like you said, there's some cool concepts in there and some really cool gore in a few of the segments. And I actually really enjoyed although they all have a look that's like the analog VHS.
Yeah.
I liked this one a lot. I think that the grainy, I don't know, something about a lot of the style on several of these segments I was really into, like visually how they looked. But yeah, I don't know. I don't really know. I guess I just don't feel the same way that you do. I wasn't super disinterested or bored or anything.
Yeah. Which is great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm sad that you were, because I know you were super excited for this. We both love found footage and anthologies, and like the VHS series is a really fun one for us. So it's a bummer that you weren't as excited about it.
Yeah. I couldn't get into it. When we had to stop this about halfway through, I was not into it then. So this isn't really it. But then something really pissed me off after we had signed off for a little bit and came back, and I came back to it in a bad mood. So I was already disinterested, and then I was in a bad mood.
Yeah.
And watching it while disinterested, so that may have had some effect on it. But I don't know, man. There's just something lacking in this one for me to resonate with it, connect with it, vibe with it. I feel like I illustrated the points for myself where I was just kind of always sitting there like, interesting, okay, that's cool, but like I was into it aesthetically here and there. I was into the gore here and there. I was into the story here and there, right? It was a very here and there film for me.
Yeah.
Just kind of like, oh yeah, so that's it for me with this film. And that's a shame. I don't know where I'd rank it, but it's definitely towards the bottom. It's this or Viral for me. Like, this is, I don't know. I feel like even though Viral doesn't have the best segments, the segments in Viral are much more like thought out and definitive. Like,
yeah, a lot of these had kind of loose endings.
Well, it's also
there's soft endings.
Yeah, there's just a lot of ambiguity in it.
Yeah.
That I found to be like confusing in a way that was more frustrating than interesting.
I didn't find that. The soft endings, made it feel more like found footage to me, kind of like,
I get that.
you would find bits of a story and not necessarily get the closure that you would from, a
I mean,
fully
I
realized
I
film.
understand that
But
it's the resolve and all that stuff. Like I can completely be fine with not because the camera cuts out or whatever. Like I get the realism aspect of that, but just the concepts that were being thrown at me here made me more frustrated than anything on some of them, not all of them, but on some of them. I was just like, these are just these are just too big for a short, and I feel like they're limiting themselves, and yeah, that's that. So the Spanish one or whatever, with like the newscasters and everything, I like that one at all.
yeah,
Um, the the Techno God one, I thought felt very pretentious at first, but that's the point.
yes,
The
yeah,
character is pretentious.
yeah. That one
They're
I
basically doing like a poetry slam,
Yeah, she's doing like a
yeah, performance,
like a like a poetry performance. There's like
yeah,
a word that I'm
one
thinking
man
of.
one man show. I
I
know what you're
yeah,
saying.
I actually liked that one quite a bit. I thought that one like it is pretentious in the beginning, but then
Yeah,
I actually really liked where it went, and that has the probably the best score for me in everything.
I like
Um,
I like concepts behind it. I like gore in it here, like the one piece of gore that's really cool. At the very end of it, there's a really good
yeah,
piece of gore. And I'm like, okay, that's cool. And I am interested in this techno world thing, but it's just I don't know. I was so dissatisfied with
yeah.
every segment. There wasn't a segment I felt satisfied with, period.
It's a bummer.
Right?
It's a bummer.
As
Yeah,
to
I didn't get
where
that. I mean, I did get dissatisfaction with the um, the
Spanish one.
Spanish one, just because I was kind of, I think that one was the more confusing one for me. I was very like, what is happening?
Like in
But the
VHS,
others I felt fine with.
like in VHS Viral, as much as people hate that one, they just feel fully realized. Like them or not, the magician one feels complete. It feels like it was a short written to be a short,
Yeah.
and it had a beginning, middle, and end, and it felt very defined. Same thing with the doorway one where the guy goes through to the universe over. That's like sort of like his world, but not.
Mm.
That felt fully realized. The kids with the skateboard fighting the zombies in the freaking in Mexico or whatever. That felt fully realized.
Yeah.
Like them or not.
Yeah.
And all of these felt like half baked and concepts that were too big to fit within the housing of a short. So
Yeah.
yeah, no,
I'm sorry.
just a not for me. This one is not. That's it.
I mean, yeah, you should watch it if you are a fan of the
Oh
VHS
sure, give it a chance.
franchise.
I mean, she liked it.
I liked it fine. I don't know. I'd be curious to see what other people are saying because, like I said, I didn't find that it was much less than the others.
Oh, I did.
Like, there's definitely ones. There's definitely other VHSs that I love a lot more and that I enjoyed a lot more. And I think we talked about this recently, where it'd be nice to go through and rewatch them because there's definitely some older ones that I haven't seen in a long time, and I always get segments confused in like which one they're in and all of that. But I mean, it's definitely worth a watch, for me at least. So
Yeah,
yeah,
I mean, I know all the VHS films pretty well, especially the first three. I know all of their segments really really well,
yeah,
and for me, this is just a downgrade to those for sure. Uh, but that's just me. Definitely let us know what you think. If you love it, that's fantastic. I genuinely am excited for you. I always want people to enjoy themselves,
yes,
but this one ain't for me. But maybe a second watch one day,
yeah.
I'll change my mind. You never know.
You never know.
But okay.
Bye.